We will now discuss the current trends and research in Pakistani context. English, we all know, is a global language, and more than 1.5 billion people in total, inclusive of non-native and native speakers, speak English, and it is seen as spreading very, very extensively because of its importance in the areas of commerce, education, communication. Asia is not an exception to such a global trend, as it can contribute to students' personal, linguistic, social, and cultural development. So even in Asia, we cannot remain aloof from such a growing trend, because it can play a very important role in the development of linguistics, or students' linguistics, understanding personalities, social and cultural behavior and development. So English language education in each Asian nation and region seems an outcome of diverse factors, including political environment, social and individual needs, and resources, teachers as well as computers. So in the age of globalization, Asia and its region, or the nations of Asia, are also moving towards this particular growth of understanding in terms of political environment, social needs, teacher training, as well as digital or IT advancement. There was a survey conducted in 2008 where we see the current trends and issues in English language education in Asia, and they identified that English language education policies, we have Pakistan, as mentioned here, where you find lack of government support for English education. Now, this is debatable, and the government is making a lot of effort, but as compared to other countries, the survey says that we still need more support from the government. Pakistan faces large classrooms in terms of their teaching of English language courses. So again, this is one area that is being identified in the survey which requires our attention. Then with regard to teaching methods and material, we again have our country listed here in terms of the authoritarian classroom culture and over-dependency on rote learning. So the teaching material which is used is basically testing-oriented system based, where the material is not to cater to the individualized needs of our students. So it depends on the memorization and rote learning, and the testing-oriented system means that the testing is done based on the stereotypical imparting of language courses, where the needs are ignored and methodologies are not addressed. With regard to teachers, again, Pakistan is listed one of the countries which lacks qualified teachers and teacher training. So again, this area in terms of the qualified language teachers and teacher training have been identified in the survey. Teacher training is very important, and when we find teacher training here, it sometimes does not include the contents which are important for training teachers to use updated teaching methodologies or conduct research to find out what type of teaching methodologies are important to assess the specific needs of the learner and design those cognitive as well as socio-cognitive activities for the improvement of the language skills of Pakistani learners. Challenges as second language difficulties for L2 are based on unrealistic teaching material, which again does not cater to their individualized needs. Lack of relevant teaching strategies. Teachers do not follow specific strategies for developing activities and practicing them in the classroom. And for the teachers, the challenges are the teaching English as second language in different situations, the assessing second language learner with different abilities, facilitating the procedure of second language acquisition, learning expectations of the second language learners. So these are some of the challenges that the teachers in our context are facing and trying to overcome with the help of specific research in these specific domains. Now, the directions provided for research inquiry in 2014 include the domain. For example, in the individual domain, how does the proficiency of individual learner develop over time in distinct? So these are the research directions or research inquiries that are suggested. And in terms of the proficiency of individual learner develop over time, how can or do language teachers promote the simultaneous development of multiple linguistic codes, multiple linguistic units? What instructional practices enhance students' abilities to function in diverse social settings? So these are related to the individual domain. Then yes, the community. What role do cross-age encounters play in promoting second language learning? How can language teacher develop students' appreciation for and understanding of multimodal or multilingual discourse? What is the influence of peers in the development of learners' attitude? And then societal, community and then society. How do politicized discussion of language use and language importance impact the development of classroom material? What is the effect of language planning and policy? What role does popular culture play in promoting language learning? These are directions provided by TESOL in one of their survey in 2014. To conclude, as per Asian survey, lack of government support for English language, large classroom, lack of proper resources and material, over-dependency on rote learning or memorization, lack of qualified teacher and appropriate training sessions, and have been identified as major issues concerning the language learning research in Pakistani context.